Hello, welcome back. I am Andrea B, and I'm excited. See my Christmas. Try to you see the direction I'm trying to point in. There it is, and then there it is. Little Christmas decorations in the background. Most of them are back that way. But anyway, thank you for joining me in this video. I am excited to dive into today's topic in regard to self-sabotage behaviors. It is something that comes up very often in the work that I do, and I think just in general with the people I see, whether it's on TV or in the world. Self sabotage is everywhere, unfortunately, and sometimes it gets the best of us, and it doesn't have to, which is why I'm here so that whatever you're doing to self sabotage, you can end it today, right now. And specifically, I want to talk to the women and share some love, some truth with love, because a lot of women are giving so much of themselves and in relationships to men that are taking advantage of it. If that's you, you know someone that is doing it, ask yourself, why am I allowing myself to be taken advantage of? Because you have control, and you can put the blame on other people, and it comes right back to you, because once you realize that you're being taken advantage of, it's best to stop it right there. And if it continues, you can only point the finger at yourself. And it's like the fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, can't put the blame on you analogy. That's exactly what it is. And it's very heartbreaking to see, because a lot of women are waiting for a man to validate them and constantly asking why? Why me? Why are you treating me this way? Why do you keep hurting me? And why give a man the opportunity to keep hurting you? And the reason I say it's heartbreaking is because I see that a lot of women are so hurt, and they're waiting for men to put the pieces together, make it better for them, and putting the responsibility in his hands to make everything better. And 9 times out of 10, there's nothing that he can do or that he's even willing to do to make it better, because he's already showing you who he is and what he's about. And he may apologize and go back to doing the same thing that put you in the situation you're in now. And that's what people do. If you allow someone to take advantage of you, they're going to keep doing it, because they're getting something that they want. And so why would they stop if you're giving them access to you? And I can speak on this personally, because I've been there before. And when I think about it, I remember talking with a young man and getting to know him, and I just thought being with him would have been the best thing in the world, and he was as good as it would get at the time, and I was just so excited to with the idea of being in a relationship with him, and he made it very clear that he was not looking for a relationship. And I thought I could change his mind. I thought that I could do so many different things and he'd want to be in a relationship with me. And as long as I got to know him, maybe for a couple of months, at least 6 months, I would say. I can't remember exactly, it was so long ago. But he never changed his mind. And he ended up ghosting me after a while. And I remember we had that conversation maybe once or twice, and he stood firm on what he wanted. He told me again he wasn't looking for a relationship, and he specifically said, just let us do us. I hit him with the what are we question, and we were nothing together. So I had to learn the hard way that he meant what he said and believe him. If he changes his mind, that's on him, but it's not up to me to change his mind. I was going out of my way thinking I could change his mind, and I had absolutely no control over that. And I hurt myself. Only person that was hurting in that process was me. And I see so many women also going through the same situation, hoping that a man will change and not taking his word for what it is. As clear as it is, he's telling you what he wants. Believe him. And I knew I wanted a relationship. I've always been a date for marriage woman, and I did not have to accept his terms. If he said he didn't want a relationship, but I did, I could have said, well, maybe this just won't work, or we can be friends, whatever. And it was up to me to take what he gave me and then decide what I wanted to do with it. Is it enough, or am I going to wait patiently for what I actually want? And I wasn't waiting patiently. Like I said, he was there, he was available, and I'm thinking, this is it. This has to be it. And let's rush into it. And then when I look back, I realized I actually was supposed to be getting to know him. Or I won't say supposed to, but I will say it this way. As long as I was in contact with him, I could have been getting to know him to even decide if I wanted a relationship with him. And I didn't know much about him. I was not showing interest in getting to know him. It was just the idea of him that I was so infatuated with, and I don't have the words for that, because when I think about it, I just realize how important it is to get to know people, show interest in them, see them for who they are. And I had an idea of who he was in my head based on what I wanted him to be, who I wanted him to be, and he was not any of those things from what I saw. And I won't say anything bad about him because I have nothing bad to say about him. And all I know is now, with the knowledge I have and looking back, what I got from him was not enough for me to even come close to saying, oh, yeah, I can see myself being with him. But for some reason back then I could, but now I know that I need more, because it's like a puppy love stage where kids and teenagers rush into relationships because someone has the same favorite color or their status. I was still in college at the time. He was in college, so I was looking at the status of the fraternity he was in and the way he dressed and just the superficial stuff. I wasn't invested in him and his character. And there were some moments that I thought he was really sweet and caring. And then there are moments where I was so furious because I expected him to show more interest after he made it very clear where he was. He didn't text me happy birthday or call me, and I remember being mad. You didn't tell me happy birthday, but I know your birthday. And for some reason, I was still delusional, thinking he'll change his mind. And that's what I mean by that, with the difference in where I am now compared to then, is that it takes a little bit more. And I also have to be very clear about my expectations, because even with him telling me he wasn't ready for a relationship, maybe I would have been okay with that too. But I could have also set some standards at the same time and say, well, this is what I'm expecting. We're not in a relationship, but with the nature of our relationship right now, this is what I'm expecting from you. And then, like, hey, I at least expect you to remember my birthday. If he couldn't do that or didn't want to, then I could have chosen to end it there. And so, take it from me, I've lived it. And if you're going through that now, maybe you recognize the signs. But I'm telling you this so you don't have to go through it, for as long as I did, especially. And going back to the self-sabotage, it drives me nuts, because once we know better, there is an expectation that we do better ASAP. And it takes longer for some people, and we have to figure out what the block is. Why is it taking us so long to get it? And I say that because a lot of women that I interact with and hear stories from are constantly putting the blame on the men. And that's the part that drives me nuts, because the answer is flashing right in front of them that says, no, it's you. Look in the mirror. It's you. Yes, he may have done something to hurt you and it sucks, you don't like it, etc. But it comes back to you. What are you going to do with what he gave you? With whatever you are presented with, what are you going to do about it? And it's just a delusion that some women have in their minds, to think that it's the man's fault when you're giving him access to keep hurting you and mistreating you and taking advantage of you. So, once you show a person that, and I know I'm saying a person, sometimes I'm saying men, yes, use this for everybody, but I'm speaking to women specifically as well because I know what it's like. I also know what it's like to release those self-sabotage behaviors, and who else is going to talk to the women? I hope it comes better. It sounds better for me as a woman talking to other women and showing you that I get it. Doesn't make it okay though, but I know what it's like to self-sabotage, waste my time, and I don't want that for myself. I don't like to see other people do it. So yes, use this in general for friends. It can be any relationship you have. But I speak about romantic relationships because a lot of women give passes to their men that they wouldn't give their friends. And I think the expectations are higher for the romantic relationships. In some ways, they should be. But I say that because I hear stories all the time about people getting in relationships and they expect their partner to see things the way that they do things the way they do, say and behave the way that they do, and they're constantly disappointed that the person they're dating is different. And because of those expectations, it turns into you should have known, and the how could you. And the thing with that is people do not communicate their expectations often. If you are just expecting people to know, you are setting yourself up, shooting yourself in the foot, because people won't know what you expect if you don't tell them. So you have to be very clear about what you're expecting and what you want from people, and let them tell you if they're willing and capable of meeting those expectations, because some people don't want to do what you're asking for. Some people are not in a position to do what you're asking for. And if you're holding people to a certain standard that they did not agree to, you're doing it to yourself. Another example, I was dating a guy and expecting him to text me every morning, just good morning. I don't know where that came from. It's something I wanted and just thought people should do. To me, I thought that was him making me a priority, that because we are in a relationship, I should be the first person he greets, he should be the first person I greet. And I never told him that. He didn't know that's what I wanted, but I expected it from him, and he was never able to tell me if he agreed to those terms. And so the moment he did not text me good morning, I'm thinking, why not? My feelings are hurt. I took it personally, and because of that, it turned into a fight instead of an understanding. It was an opportunity to understand him and also for him to understand me, but instead I approached it in a confrontational way, which led to a fight. And that's what I mean by when people have expectations and it usually doesn't go well, is that people don't communicate them appropriately. And there's a difference in, if you've already expressed yourself, that means the person knows. So yes, I can see why afterwards you may become angry, because you're thinking, I told you what I want up front, you agreed. Let's say cheating. Cheating is an example that comes up often. If you tell someone that you're dating, I don't tolerate cheating, and they say, okay, I understand, but then they cheat on you after that conversation, of course you're going to be livid. That's different. That's different, because you're communicating your expectation and the person agreed to those terms. Otherwise, if you're expecting someone to do something for you without that conversation, they just won't know. And I see often with that too is that people get a pass. Like, if I see that you're doing something that I don't like, I probably won't say something right away, because I'm thinking, I'll just say something the next time, or maybe you won't do it again. I'll just give you a pass this time. But then it secretly still hurts me. Well, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to hang it over you, or behave passive aggressively? That's usually what I see happening, is that people hold grudges all the time. There's a grudge. And again, how will the person know? If you're not saying anything, if you're constantly giving people passes, of course they're going to keep doing whatever they're doing, because maybe they think it's okay. Maybe it works for them. And because most of the time we don't know how to treat people until they teach us, because everyone is so different. What I think is okay, maybe you don't. So sometimes we have to have conversations more than maybe we'd like to, or than we think we should. And people throw around all the time, communication is key. And this is how true that statement is that we have to communicate about all of the little things that we think people should know. Common sense isn't so common. This is evidence of how true that statement is that what you think people should know, sometimes they just don't. Same with the cheating conversation. You could tell someone, I don't tolerate cheating, and they may say, cool, I don't either. And then you find out they cheat, but maybe it's based on your definition. Maybe you say, I saw you flirting with that woman, you're cheating on me. Maybe to them, flirting isn't cheating. We have to be very specific by what we mean, making sure we are on the same page. That is where people miss each other. And a lot of things can be avoided when we are very, very clear with ourselves, but also each other. And in order to release these self-sabotage behaviors, it starts with loving yourself, taking care of yourself, and doing better. If you're going to demand better, what are you doing to get it? And it starts with you saying, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to take control and stop waiting for other people to validate me and solve all of my problems. Because sometimes you're waiting for other people to solve things that you need to be solving. So if you can look carefully at what you need and how to get your needs met, you will realize that you are just waiting on yourself. And the whole time you have been in your way. That's exactly what self-sabotage is. And it will keep happening as long as you are in the way. Get out of your way. Move. Just literally, can you just imagine doing that to yourself? Like, get out of my way. I know it sounds crazy because it's you, but there's a part of you that is in your way. Whatever that part is, whatever that part of you is thinking or feeling, if it's not working, if that part of you is causing more harm than good, give it a little nudge. Like, get out of my way. Sit down somewhere. You're delusional. Sometimes you may have to be harsh with yourself like that. It's the truth. Just be honest. You can even be gentle and just say, hey, self, I know you value this relationship. I know you want them to care about you. The truth is they don't. They've hurt you multiple times, and you are doing no good by entertaining this relationship. If you need to be that gentle with yourself, do it. Whatever you need to get the hint, just get it. The truth is the truth no matter what. Whether it sounds pretty or nasty, the truth is the truth. And that is the best thing I accepted for myself, is knowing that as terrible as something may sound that a person has told me, it was true. They had a point, and I had to accept it. And I chose to accept it rather because it does me a lot of justice to just accept the truth for what it is. Because with that truth, you are no longer delusional. You are in reality, grounded, rooted in reality. And when you can accept the truth for what it is, that is where growth begins to happen. Growth is not going to happen in delusional land. Wherever delusion lies, you can forget about growth, because delusions are lies. You're telling yourself a lie, selling yourself a story. You are living in a fairy tale, and if you don't snap out of it, that's just it. You will stay there until you snap out of it, and you'll wake up one day and wonder what happened. How did you get in this mess? That's why people say stay woke. Gotta stay alert. Keep your eyes open. It's okay to dream. It's okay to fantasize. Know the difference in that fantasy and the truth. And people may constantly lie to you, but it is up to you to decide whether you are going to believe the lies or not. And unfortunately, women, again, I have to speak to y'all. Some of your friends are lying to you. Women on social media are lying to you. Women on TV, reality TV, all of it, lies. Some women in your family are lying to you, selling you lies. And it's keeping you stuck, especially in these relationships. Stuck, 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 stuck. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to. You can choose differently. Going back to my example, me thinking this man is going to change his mind. He could have. But the delusion is me thinking I could change his mind. I was lying to myself. And no one told me that specifically, that I could change his mind. But I heard it through the grapevine somewhere that I had power to change his mind. And no one was there to tell me that that wasn't true. I remember talking with a few friends at the time, and their response was, okay, girl, you better get it. You better tame him. Those are not genuine, loving responses. That is delusion. Whether they thought it too, or maybe they were laughing behind my back thinking she's foolish. She thinks she's gonna change this man and get him to commit to her. She's crazy. But I wasn't hearing that from them. They were cheering me on instead of somebody saying, snap out of it. He does not want you. That's what I mean by women are lying to each other. And there should be no excuse. I don't know why that happens so much within female relationships, the sisterhood, but women lie to other women constantly, and I don't get the point of it. Be honest with each other. If you are having a hard time being honest with your female friends, can you really call yourself a friend? Even be honest about that. Just say, I'm having a hard time being honest with you. I want to tell you the truth, but I'm afraid of how you may take it. Whatever the reason is, just be honest. And I wasn't getting that, which is why a lot of friends I had back then are not here today, because those friendships were not successful, and they weren't ever going to be because of the delusion that those friendships were built on. And I use friendships loosely because they're not friendships. They're not what I would want in friends today. But at the time, I thought they were friends. And same thing, self-sabotaging. As I said before, it can be romantic, but it can also be platonic relationships. It can be professional relationships. Self-sabotage is everywhere. It doesn't have to be, but it can be everywhere. I'll word it that way. It can be everywhere. I'm going to take a pause and sip the beverage of the day. Apple juice. Yes, in a wine glass. You can believe me if you want, but I know it's apple juice. And see, Hello Kitty, and my name on the other side. Turn it, turn it, turn it. Carefully. Yep, that's my name. So, as I sipped my juice, I even got another example of self-sabotage, because as I was turning, you see how slow I'm turning it? Because I know how fragile this glass is, but also I know I have to turn it slowly because there's juice in it. So if I go fast, there's a possibility that the glass could drop, juice is spilling all over the place, and I know better. I know it makes more sense to go slowly for all the reasons I named. So I'm not going to be in a rush to turn the glass to show you all how pretty it is. And when I say self-sabotage can be everywhere, I mean in even the smallest things. Why would I do that to myself? Rush and drop the glass and it potentially breaks and, like I said, spill. I'd be devastated. But then I'd be kicking myself in the butt by saying, well, I probably should have slowed down. I shouldn't have been rushing. It's my fault. Because I know better, and it's up to me to do better. In every little thing you can do, get out of your way. That's all the self-sabotage, oh, excuse me, or releasing that self-sabotage means, is using wisdom. When you have wisdom, you're not sabotaging yourself. You don't want to sabotage yourself with wisdom because you know what that means. You know what comes with self-sabotage. So that's why when you know better, you do better. Mistakes happen. Sometimes we have to learn. But once we learn, we have to apply. Sometimes it's that simple. And when it's not simple, slow down. You can still slow down to think about the next best step, but just proceed with caution, because you won't have it all figured out today. But if you can identify areas where self-sabotage exists, you can at least increase your awareness of it to say, wow, that's self-sabotage. This isn't good. Just start there. And from there, you can decide how you want to proceed. That's all it takes. So, I hope this video has been very insightful, and I pray that your hearts are open to receiving this. With love, as always, my intention is to spread wisdom. Wisdom is love. Truth is love. And like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you can receive updates from me. Until next time, peace out.